cowboy show that everybody was watching.
Kevin Costner? He's still making TV shows and movies?
Oh, geez. It's the newest one he's had out there, and it had 1883 that folled it.
Yeah, what the heck is that called?
Oh, my gosh.
Use the dementia. Here we go. See?
Yeah, exactly.
So, Miriam, we're going to need you to stop by and check on Sherry, too, while you're at it. So,
We're going to have coffee, so.
Yeah, not Keystone like ever. Oh, for heaven's sakes.
I'm going to look it up.
You would love it, Chris. It is very manly. Oh, my God.
yeah, I'll have to take your word for it.
Oh, my God. Hi, Daniel Vasquez.
Hello.
Hello, everybody.
It's Yellowstone.
Thank you.
Oh, okay.
Close.
Yeah, I've seen the previews for it. I didn't know Kevin Costner was in that. And they had to dust him off the shelf. Get him
Are
back
you kidding? No, he is a rock star. Well, you're not going to watch it for that, but it's definitely a manly show. So
It definitely.
All right, cool. So, Sherry, I understand you're going to talk to us tonight about ad splits.
yes, where's my Heather and Tracy that wanted to hear about it? Where are they?
Well, I know Tracy is out. She's in her mom broke her knee. So she
She's in Savannah.
Yeah, she's in Savannah. I don't know which is worse, breaking your knee or being stuck in Savannah. Either or.
Especially with the hurricane coming. That's pretty yucky.
Yeah, so it's like a trifecta. But and then Heather mentioned she had something with a client, so she's going to try and jump on. But luckily, this will be recorded, and all of your mistakes will be forever out there for everyone to see.
He just knows how to push all my buttons.
Hey, listen. So I was in a marketing class, and it was what's that?
Elisa is a saint.
So I was in a marketing class over on Friday, and they were talking about like taglines and like hooks and all that stuff. And of course, they brought up what not a bad example, and it was great. It was a nice real juicy looking steak, right? And how do you market a steak? And of course, the tagline was recently killed cow. So it's all in how you say it. I mean, it's in how you deliver it. So I'm here to help there, Sherry.
Thank you again, Elisa. We'll talk later. Okay, so all righty. I am going to share my screen. Let's see. How do you, okay, let's try this.
Bottom of the screen, present.
No, I know, but I have to go to another browser. I want to see if that works.
Okay.
What are you looking at? Because I can't see you anymore.
That's opportunities.
Yay. Okay. Okay.
Now we have a letter.
Good. Okay. So first of all, okay. So let me go. All right. Well, I can't see you, but that's okay. I know what you guys look like. Oops. Okay. So anyway, we're going to talk about pad split. Pad split. Why am I doing pad split? What is a little bit of pad split? Background is that I'm always looking, number one, for obviously investment opportunities. I like to niche myself, and this is what I was speaking to you guys about in one of my other meetings a few weeks ago, is that especially in very interesting markets and where you're getting a lot of pushback from people with, well, I don't want to buy because of the rates, I don't want to sell because of the rate I have. The pain of moving is not as bad as, is worse than the pain of staying, and everybody gives you an excuse. So that means to me that I have the wrong pool of customers. So I'm always searching for a different pool of customers. So I found out about 8 months ago or so, almost, I guess, a year ago, that investors were coming off of a fantastic economy, and they had cash and they had high credit scores and they had paid off a lot of things, during the good times. So this new pool of customers were excited to buy excited to get involved in things. And that was different than what we're hearing, you know, all these other people. And again, I am not in the business of convincing people to buy or sell. You know, that's just not what I'm here for. I want to deal with the people who know, like, and trust me and are ready, willing, and able and motivated to buy or sell. So somebody in my company was very into this pad split thing, and I was watching videos for years of her making other people successful, her making herself successful. And I said to myself, well, why can't I be successful? I bought a pad split in Tampa, and you know, I just learned from it what she taught me. I ended up simultaneously, I'm going to show you how you could do it. She's discounted it for, you know, $199 now, which I pay a lot more for the course, on how to be a pad split realtor. I always, you guys know, obviously I'm really big into training. And I always also think that if I'm going to use other people's money for something, that I also should be, you know, very well versed in what it is I'm getting other people into. So, and I decided to put my money where my mouth was. That was interesting because I was watching Beth's video one day, and she was teaching realtors on how to talk to Sphere people who had a lot of equity in their home. And she said, realtors, this is called the equity phone call. Do you realize how much equity you're sitting on in your home? What would changes like that do, you know, to your life if you used your equity, had it pay for something else, and now all of a sudden you had an income? Not a yes or no question. She was teaching us for people to come up with answers. And I'm shouting into the screen, oh my God, I could do this, I could do that, I would do, and then I realized, okay, it's time for me to do it. So pad split. What is pad split? Pad split is co-living. I'm going to share this video.
Today's housing market is full of obstacles and hazards. Interest rates have doubled. There's low inventory, supply chain issues. It's not just a difficult time for real estate investors, house flippers, and single-family home and apartment landlords. It's also a difficult time for 14 million renters seeking affordable housing. Challenging times call for innovation. Introducing PadSplit, a revolutionary co-living marketplace that matches property owners with renters seeking affordable rooms. When you partner with PadSplit, you convert your single-family rental into a rent-by-the-room co-living property, helping you reach 2 to 3 times your net operating income each month compared to traditional single-family rentals. Here's how it works. We'll help you turn underutilized space in your rental property into more bedrooms, and we can even connect you to trusted contractors and vendors to do it. Once your home meets PadSplit standards, you're officially a PadSplit host and ready to fill your rooms. The PadSplit team will list your rooms on our platform while also providing you with marketing tools, access to our extensive real-time property data dashboard, helping you find and screen potential residents, who we call members, and coordinating move-ins. We'll also help you deal with any issues that pop up, set payment schedules, and collect payments for you. Plus, if you'd like, you can use your own property manager. The math is simple. More people in your homes means more income, even when each individual is paying less than at a traditional rental. And in addition to doubling your net operating income, you'll be making a meaningful difference in the affordable housing crisis. Join the country's biggest shared housing marketplace, designed specifically for the workforce, and help us ensure people can live in the communities they serve. Visit padsplit.com to get started today. PadSplit. Do well and do good.
Okay, let me go back so I could see you guys. Just close your eyes for a minute. There we go. Okay, so that, hi Lauren. So that is basically what PadSplit is. So what I did in Tampa is now again, you know, Chris says this all the time too. I am the best realtor on the planet, not for myself. So I hired an expert, Beth, she's crazy. And anyway, I don't live in Tampa, so, you know, I wouldn't be able to do what she did. She scouted the house for me. She sent me video. She had, and this is what sets PadSplit realtors aside from everybody else. She had the contractor who knew how to turn a 3-2 into a 5-2. She had the stager and photographer who knew exactly what little things needed to be there, like the bedding on the beds, the little plants here and there, how to stage a house for photography for the PadSplit platform, okay, correctly. She had the property manager who has 1,000 doors, you know, and he knew exactly how to handle all of that. So all I was the missing, I like to say the missing piece, the missing puzzle piece in the middle. She just needed my money, and everything would run, you know, the way it's supposed to. So PadSplit handles, just so you can get a better understanding, they handle all of the electronics, anything with software. They handle the background checks, the contracts. It's a 1-year contract with you, the owner of the home, and PadSplit, and then everybody that's living there, they're members. That is, so they had attorneys go, you know, through this to find out the quote unquote workaround of having several unrelated people in one dwelling. Now the density, if you're lucky, the area I'm trying to break into here in West Palm, coincidentally has a density of 7 legal unrelated people allowed to live in one home, which is amazing. So if there's 7 cars in the driveway, nobody's going to care. So PadSplit handles what happens is the application, the payments. If they're late, they charge late fees. They have a certain balance that they won't let the members get over. It's $300. So yeah, there's 2 sides to that coin too. Do people not pay? What happens when they don't pay? So you have to understand, and I'll show you like who these members are and who the people are. This is it for them. Like if they don't live here, they're coming from couches, cars, they're just not able to afford housing. So they're very careful about keeping everything good, you know, with that rental. So my people have all gotten so comfortable, they're all paying late, which upsets me because they're all running balances over 300, but the late fee is $50. So if they're paying me $199 or, you know, $275 a week, and they're late, they're paying, when they get over that $300 threshold, they're paying me a late fee of $50. Is it annoying? Yes, but let's add it up. So even if they left, one owner made $1,500 extra in a couple of months, you know, on that house. So even though it's not ideal to have them late, I'm not, you know, I can't kick them out, so I might as well benefit from it. So you can be a PadSplit, you could be a buyer, or you could be a PadSplit realtor. I chose to be both. And I'm working on one right now where it's an unheard of, we're in the 20% of cash on cash return. You can't have that really anywhere now. The cash on cash return at the end is about 8 to 10 to 12%, but it depends what kind of investor you have. Now, the rule is for investor to buy and hold. So you're thinking 5 years, 8 years, and ideally, you know, would be 10. So you get to a point where the deferred maintenance, so let's back up. Why did I hire Beth to be my realtor? Not only because, you know, she invented the course and lives in Tampa, she knew exactly and taught me how to do it. She knew exactly what had to go into buying a PadSplit home. You needed everything as new as you can have it. So the house she found me had a brand new roof, brand new AC. Because of the type of loan I took, the maximum allowable seller credit to the buyer, which was me, was only 2%. We took that right away. And then she told, now again, I could fight for you guys, fighting for myself for whatever reason is very difficult. She got me a brand new hot water heater. I mean, on top of that. So the whole idea of having a PadSplit is one and done. You can't, it's one thing if you have a single family home and the AC dies, your tenants are upset. you hurry up and get someone in. Can you imagine if you had 5, 6, 7, 8 tenants and the AC dies, or the roof has to be replaced, or there's no hot water? Or let's talk about my situation. Apparently in Tampa, the pipes aren't, I guess they're, what's the bad one? Cast iron, Christopher?
Copper.
Copper. So maybe there's whatever's in,
Copper
yeah.
or the polybutylene.
Well, I don't have polybutylene, that I wouldn't have bought, but whatever the underground piping is, it's always replaced.
Oh, okay. I bet you. Yeah, it could be cast iron too.
It was probably cast iron. That runs, Daniel looked like he fell off his chair. That runs rampant in Tampa apparently. And so here's the benefit of having the property manager. So the platform shows me all the messages. I have never spoken to my members ever. I don't even think they know who I am. Once I get involved with them, this is not like a landlord-tenant situation. I have a feeling it's going to take over my life. And that's not what, that's not what I'm doing it for. So I see all the messages going back and forth, and guess what they all are? The toilets are backed up. They won't flush. It's coming up in the shower. I mean, oh my God, I can't have that. So yeah, so that was an issue. But what happened? Fred, the property manager, sent out his plumbers and then finally said, Sherry, we got to hydro blast the line. We're going to scope it, blah, blah. He handled all of that for me, and I didn't get involved. Now, emotionally, was I like, oh my God, what now? Yes, every time I saw that, but I didn't have to get personally involved. And I'm still making money, and that's what I pay the property manager for. So before I ask if there's any questions so far, I want to show you guys something else that'll probably answer more of your questions. I'm going to share the screen again. So hold on. And then, like I said, close your eyes for a brief second while I switch browsers. Okay. So this was made by Emmanuel, and E is an account executive. We call them AEs. Each region has an AE. Florida Florida's the manager of all of Florida is Jack Avera, and then Audrey McClintock is the AE of Florida, and she's the one that helps the owners. So these are, a buy box for those of you that don't know. I mean, I didn't know before I did this, is what are I actually picture like a checkbox or a checklist. What are the requirements? What are these investors? What do they need to buy a pad split? Okay, it's got to be in a metro area. So if you think a house, like out here, I always look out the window. Here in Waxahachie, that's, 2,500 square feet would be amazing because you could divide it up. It's not. You can't get anywhere here if you don't have a car, and there's barely any infrastructure. So it has to be an area where the walking score. So I learned that Google, if you Google walking score, you can put an address in and they'll tell you, oh yes, this is like, anything over 50% is good. They could walk to the grocery store. There's jobs nearby, all those things. The walking score needs to be pretty high, or if it's in Plant City where they have a lot of pad splits, they're basically a lot of farmers. So, it's hard for them to get around, yet those workers need a place to live. Here was the surprising thing that I learned. If you're earning 20 to 60 grand, I think if you're earning 50 to 60,000 a year, I thought that was pretty good. Apparently it isn't anymore. If you're by yourself and you have to pay for a car, and, housing it used to be 1 week's salary was supposed to be equivalent to 1 month's rent. That is not the case anymore. So the people, they make what you think is a lot of money. I mean, they have teachers, that need these places. Finding out the biggest that's always full are near casinos, because the workers there, okay, the people working the casinos, they're the ones that need a place to live. And anywhere there's a casino in the United States, their pad splits are 100% full. 1,200 square feet, I think, is a little low. 14, I would have to go see it. 3,000 is a little much. My sweet spot, I think, is about 1,600 for me is the minimum. 1,800 to 2,000 is really where you shine. Bathrooms, the more bathrooms, the better. It's the ratio with pad split is 4 to 1. So 4 people share 1 bathroom. And what I had to remember over and over and over again is it's not me sharing a bathroom with 3 other people. I mean, when I was 20 or 17, 18 in college, that's what I did. And I said, well, who would do that? Again, it's not me. It's people who really need affordable housing. So the renovation and repair, and it's called conversion. My job as the realtor is to find out with my contractor, and we go there, what is the conversion rate? How much, first of all, is the down payment? So it's anywhere, the higher the down payment, the lower the interest rate. At 10% right now, it's a 9% interest rate. But if you put 20, 25% down, you're looking at low 7s, which is really not that bad. And this is today, and today is the 24th of September. So right now, that's pretty average and not so bad. The bigger the house, the more things you want to add, the more it's going to cost you. So I'll show you where that comes into play. Parking. I could walk up to a house now. I was so intimidated when I started this. Like, I'm no contractor. What do I know? But with parking, I could walk up to a house now, and I'll show you some pictures where even I drive by, I go, oh my God, that's a pad split house. It has to be where every car can just about get in and out of without bothering each other. Or if there's parking, but they're going to be stacked, be careful. Everybody has to get along. You can't have people arguing that you're in my spot and I can't get out. That's not going to be the quality of living, in that house. So you have to be careful with that. And also, the neighborhood has to be one where no one's going to complain that there are possibly 6, 7, 8 cars, which statistically doesn't happen because not everybody has one, but they could. And if they do, you don't want the neighbors to complain. So let's go back here. Public transit within 1 mile, lot size, just as long as you're not sitting on top. It's 0 lot lines, don't work. No flooding. You can't have a lot of foundation repairs. I think E is in Jacksonville, so they must have a lot of that there. It says pools not recommended. Forget it. No pools, no septic tanks, and no HOA. If you find the perfect house, but it has this or that, it's not the perfect house. It's going to cost you money. And we want the startup to be as low as a price as possible. The average room needs to be 80 square feet, 7. I've seen what it looks like. It's really small. You have to have an AC vent in there, a smoke detector, and a window or a door in each room. So they always say the sweet spot here is 6 to 8. They're saying 7, 7 to 8. The one that I did at first was very conservative because, it wasn't a lot of money in the outlay, and also my profit is not going to be, sky high either. But it was also the least intimidating, and I didn't have to come up with a whole bunch of money, on the outlay. Here on my coast, where I am, this guy is waiting to pull the trigger. He's looking at 170,000 all in, but it's going to be amazing. I mean, listen to this. There's an ADU is a separate house on the property, like an in-law, or this one's sort of attached. These people, what they did to this house is very interesting. The ADU already has 2 people living in it with a kitchen and a bathroom. And what they did is they put a curtain, don't ask, to divide the living space. But guess what? They're living in an air-conditioned home with a kitchen and a bathroom. So that alone is priceless. The house inside is going to be a 6-2. So the master, actually, which is very weird, the master is usually the ensuite, they have their own bathroom. This one is going to have 2 rooms. The master is so large, and the bathroom and they already have 3 beds in there separated by kind of a wall. It's a very unusual house. So we're gonna take the ensuite, divide it into 2. So they're only going to share 1 bathroom, those 2 people, and then there's going to be 4 other people sharing a bathroom. So I saw another house that was 2,700 square feet. I still have my eye on it. I could easily create that into a 10-bedroom. the quality of living is going to be terrible in there. You know, you're talking about one kitchen. The neighbors, even though you're allowed to have 7 unrelated people, they're going to have a fit. Like, I just wouldn't do that. So it's going to be a 7, I think it's going to be a 7-4 or an 8-4. I can't even remember anymore. So even though this one is going to be an 8-bedroom, 2 of the bedrooms are not even in the same building. So that one's going to work. And that's why the cash on cash return on that is so high. Okay. Any questions thus far?
Miriam, you're muted if you're saying something.
Yeah.
Sorry. What are the insurance requirements for something like that? Like,
So when Airbnb came out, there weren't loans for them, and there's really insurance. There wasn't a lot of insurance for them either. Like, nobody ever heard of it. They didn't know what to do with it. So for insurance, I called my insurance guy, and he gave me, I don't even know what it is, DP3. Does that sound familiar?
no, but I can look it up. DP3?
I think so. He
Okay.
insured it properly. And he said, don't worry, I got this. I said, okay. And you know, there's thousands of pad splits and thousands of doors. So that's how everyone's doing it. People are slowly, this is so new. That's why it's so exciting. It's like what Airbnb was when it first started. Nobody heard of it.
And
So there's insurance.
okay, so there is a way to get insurance. Okay, so my next question is, what are the financing guidelines for that kind of investment? Like, what do you need to come down with? Like,
So I did a HELOC on my home to conventional. And what they did is they knew that that was going to be an investment home, and they treat it also like a DSCR. What's a DSCR loan? It is a loan where they take the rents around the area and they'll allow for some vacancy, and they make sure that your investment is that the rental rate is going to pay your mortgage and taxes and insurance. And if you can prove that, which the appraiser does, and I did as a realtor, then they'll give you the loan. But you have to put, 20 to 25% down. And
Okay.
depending what you qualify for, it might even be 30% down sometimes.
okay, but the minimum you've heard is at least 20. Or
I mean, you could do 10, but today the interest rate's 9% on 10% down.
right. Okay.
Sherry.
And
Oh, sorry. I thought you were done, Mary.
oh no, that's okay. That can wait. Go on.
I was going to ask, when it said you had to have egresses, does each bedroom have to have 2 exits, the window and a door, or is it just the main house?
It's a window in each room, a door, and then there has to be an AC vent in each room.
Okay, but they don't have to have a door that takes them outside.
No, a door that takes them. So we
Into
put
the
walls, correct. We put walls up all the way. And if you Google this or go on YouTube, just like anything else, you're going to hear all the negative and all the weirdos saying, oh, people are putting walls up that don't go all the way to the ceiling. I mean, that's no quality of life either. They're doing that for expense, number one. And number two, to get around if somebody comes in and says, what are all these rooms, which, knock on wood, is super rare for them to do. They had in Tampa, they had 2,000 doors and they had 2 evictions. And nobody in one house, and I don't know where, this is not an old wives' tale. I forget where this was, but the county came in because the neighbor complained and she had to get rid of one of her bedrooms. But they turned it into a storage space and rented it out by the section and added $10 a month to each person's room. So it ended up being okay. Who else?
Do we need the permits inside to permit from their county or like city to make these rooms?
No. So if you're putting up walls, you don't need to. Technically, are you adding electricity, moving vents? You're supposed to. The problem is permitting. It takes, puts more time that your property is going to go on the market. So when we, and I know, very weird coming from the master of compliance, But if you're gonna put a bathroom in, that's why I say I try not to make them fit. If they don't already fit the model, the deeper you go, adding bathrooms, doing this, doing that, you get into trouble. Yes, if you're adding a bathroom, you got to have a permit, and you would do that before you started putting the walls up. You would just add the bedroom, the county comes in, the bathroom, the county comes in, and they approve the bathroom. Again, in Colorado, they tried to shut PadSplit down for that reason, saying you can't have this, you can't have that. And believe it or not, because of whatever Colorado is, they fought it, and the governor was terrified of shutting down affordable housing. You can't do that. So they actually went to court and said, okay, you can keep your PadSplits.
Sherry,
So,
do you have a copy of the net sheet showing the rental breakdown?
yeah, that's my next slide. I wonder if I could, let me do it on this browser because I want to see you guys. It's very bizarre not to be able to see you. Hold on.
Does the city need to, does the city have a say? Does each city have a say in this? They don't need to know, what's any kind of city guidelines with regards to something like this?
We don't tell them what we're doing. The best bet is, like I said, is when you have, hold on, let me share the screen in the meantime. Hold on, maximize share screen. Give me just a second. Oops.
You were so close, one button away.
Hold on. I know. I put my hand up because it's easier for me to use Zoom. All right. So aren't I supposed to? I'll click down here. So this here is what how do I turn the page? Why is it not turning?
Oh, that's your presentation. So probably down at the bottom, click on the bottom icons, move over to the other page.
Doing it. Okay.
You can push the button present nearby the share button.
Okay.
Chris hogged it up. I can't do that, but I do got it now. Thank you.
How do I hog it up?
Because it's not lit up for me when I said present. So, but now I got it. But you'll just have to look at all the other stuff. So, okay, this one, believe it or not, is completely still available. Look, okay, and you'll see pictures of my car. So look at this driveway. If you unfortunately take this out, I'm not a fan of taking out green, but if you did take it out or move, let's say we relocate the trees, you can fit another car to here sideways. You can't see it from here, but I was just here again last week. You could fit 2 or 3 cars here, another one here, 2 or 3 here. There's a space over here, and that would be awesome. And people wouldn't really fight. In this presentation, if you click on where it says click here, I have actual videos of me walking through the property and using bad words because I didn't know I was going to share it with everybody, and somebody needed the presentation right now, and I got really excited. So my language wasn't awesome. All right, so here's what we're looking at, and now this is still on the market. So I talked to the realtor. I bet you we can get this for $450, or actually lower. I just talked to him the other day. Probably get this one for $430, which would completely change all the numbers. So I based it on this price, the financing with DSCR, 25% down payment, the maximum seller credits, $9,200. These were the taxes in 24. Here's the insurance. This is the PITI monthly, annually, prepaids and closing costs. Now, this is the conversion and furnishing. I'd have to go get another. I had a contractor go through this and gave me the numbers. I still really want to add a bathroom in here. They would bring the money in incredibly. I know I said let's not add a bathroom, but if you saw this house, you'd see exactly where that bathroom could go and what you could do with it. I put $3,000 miscellaneous expenses. Liquid cash needed is $164,000. Now the weekly rent, so that's all the rooms. The weekly rent is $1,750. The gross rent is 80,500. We base the weekly rent, just so you know, on 48 weeks. I like being conservative. So if you're vacant, it gives us a little bit of leeway. And also in year one, if it takes a little longer to get on the platform for whatever reason, you know, material or whatever, your contractor leaves you in the middle of the deal, don't worry, they won't do that because we have good contractors now. But that we leave space for that. An expense, rule of thumb, we always say 32% a year of your expenses. That's your electricity, your trash, your water, your what do you call it? The property manager. Sorry, he's the big one. We average 32% a year on that. And then the year one cash flow on this one is small. I need Kyle to help me with the the year two to show you, because you're not going to have all these expenses. Now, knowing what I know now, that I can get this property for probably 30,000 less, because when I did this is still a while, it's still on the market. I think this number will go up. Now, I can't tell you how many people say to me, oh, that's not enough, you know, skin on the bone for me. And guess what happens? The house gets sold, it sells for the low price that I told them we could probably get it for. And they come back to me and they say, oh, Sherry, we can't find a house for this price anywhere that would do that. That's the biggest complaint investors are having right now. They're having a lot of trouble finding houses with equity for flips or homes that are actually bringing in this much income. So do I like it when I lose a deal like that? No, but guess what? It turns those naysayers into buyers. So the guy that's working with me now, he lost 2 homes and they were 415,000 and 400,000. And guess what he's looking at now? 400 and I think it's 85,000. So he understands that, you know, he lost out. So that one, let's go back. So that was going to be a 6.3, this one. Okay, with these numbers. This next one, I'm not, this one's for sale too still. It's so beautiful inside, and the driveway, so you see how the driveway's a little smaller, but there's 2 cars on that side, and then guess what? There's a fence that goes all the way in the backyard, but your people would really have to get along. So that one was kind of, I'm not exactly sure. So this one was listed at 450. We'd probably get this one lower than 430 because it's still on the market. This is your down payment. This is your seller credit. The funny thing about this one, this was more appealing 2 months ago, not now though. The people who lived here had disability and homestead and everything. Their taxes for each year was like $358. So those were the year one taxes. But everyone tells me that's not my job, but I can't sell a house to somebody saying, don't worry, your taxes are going to be $358 a year. I can't do that. So I plugged it in the calculator on our property appraiser, no homestead, and the taxes in reality at that price are going to be $9,111. That was what my insurance guy and so forth and so on. This liquid cash is different. It's $145,900. So you buy these things according to and sell them to people to what you liquid. This one went fast because people figured it out. And I love how my minivan is always the star of the show. This would have come right out. This driveway gets me excited. Do you know what's on this side here? Water. However, I was afraid to be in this house by myself without locking the front door. So I know things that nobody else knows about this area. Margaritaville, the hotel is coming. Just down the road and a little bit north is going to be an entire shopping center and restaurant area is all going to be there. They're gentrifying the neighborhood. So these houses are in the 400,000s and people are hesitant to pull the trigger, but we could have got this for 400,000. And that's what it sold for. I'm right every time, which is frustrating, but somebody's going to bite in, you know, and be the first. Look at the liquid cash you needed for that one, 132,850. See, that was a little more manageable. And the cash on cash return was 10.48% on that one. So it was a little different on that. Okay. So let me stop the sharing. Questions?
So Sherry, first, go ahead, Martha.
Are you like including the, like dining rooms and living rooms and dividing them up into bedrooms?
Yep, there's no common space. The
Okay.
only requirement with PadSplit, and believe me, I argued with people and said, but, and they told me that's not what, this is not an Airbnb. All usable space is used. The only requirement is a kitchen table with 4 chairs. But Sherry, we have 6 people living here. They do not sit at the kitchen table together and all eat dinner. They just don't. And most of them, for some reason, don't cook either. They buy, that statistically, they buy fast food. So a problem with the PadSplit is not that, you know, there's not enough room in the refrigerator or there's not enough cooking, you know, that's not an issue that comes up. But yes, you go, well, as soon as you walk in that front door, the best is from the front door, the whole living room, to where the other door is on the other side. You measure it with your measuring tape. There's always a vent, usually right there. Sometimes it's in the hallway here. You create a hallway from the front door, and then you create a door, and that's your first bedroom. Because the windows are there too, usually, you know, out, that's the front of the house. So where are the windows? Right there. Boom, boom, boom. That's the best one.
That
Chris.
answers the question there, Martha?
That's what I had, because I was thinking dining room, living rooms, all of those could be subdivided.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
But Sherry,
But Chris,
you mentioned a DSCR loan. What if somebody wanted to use this as a primary residence and stay in one of the rooms and rent out the rest? Could they do that?
house hacking, this guy does it and makes bazillions. Yep. He lives in one of the rooms and rents it out to other people.
So ultimately, if somebody was comfortable, if you had a young investor or whatever, they could use a primary residence product with a much lower down payment to get into a house like this.
Correct. And the difference is, and I please, again, I detest workarounds to try to get something cheaper. It doesn't work. But this guy that does this, he doesn't use the PadSplit platform. Because he has to live with these people. So he does the interviewing, and actually he advertises for who's going to live with him. And that's how he's able to coexist with them, because he kind of picks his roommates, so to speak. So he does it a little differently. But yes, and he's been very, very successful. And when he's actually, Beth had it on the platform to sell, the money he got back, because we're selling it as a PadSplit, it's already, so that's a good question, Chris. I'm glad you asked. Now, what are the exit strategies? So the exit strategies are sell it as a PadSplit already. You know, it's maybe somebody doesn't have all the money for the conversion or the time to have the rooms vacant. Selling a fully occupied PadSplit where you just get the loan, I mean, it's crazy, you know. So that's pretty simple. We do that, and there are lenders. There's one lender who'll actually loan on an actual PadSplit. So that's the workaround there for that. But or if you, so this kid just did just what Christopher's saying, and he's right in the middle of selling. And I wish I had the numbers, but I remember he's making hundreds of thousands of dollars because he's had it for a few years. PadSplit's now well known, high in demand. It's fully occupied. So he's going to move out and sell it and use the money to buy something else. The other exit strategy that you would have is you would, my thing is freezing, is that you would take the walls down. It's very inexpensive to take the walls down that you put up, but they're all gonna go to the ceiling, but it doesn't cost as much, to take them down, paint the ceiling, and then there you have your single family home. What I like to, especially what makes me, very cautious when dealing with other people's money and telling them, don't worry, it's going to work out, showing them the facts, there's a chance it might not. What's going to happen? So maybe PadSplit didn't work out. which so far, knock on wood, I haven't heard, but guess what? You still have a single family home there. So if pad split's not working out, or you change your mind, or whatever happens and you decide not to do it, you could take the walls down and now you have a single family home to sell or to rent. So rent would be your second catch-all. Okay, maybe you would just break even. And then your third catch-all for that would be if you needed the money, sell it. So I like to layer protection in with everybody. So it gives me the confidence to actually present a good product to them and not be fearful that I'm getting them into something that's not going to work.
So if you're going to resell it though, and now all of a sudden you have a 6.2 or a 6.3 in an area that's predominantly a 3.2 or 4.2, whatever, how are you going to do the CMA and get the value?
I think they did it again over the local rent. That is a good question. I have to find out, but they actually are selling them people are buying them as pad splits. And I don't know if they bought them cash. Or if they bought it.
If they're buying a pad split that's already occupied with 6 bedrooms and a verifiable income, would that be sold on the fair market value for the size of the home, or would that be done off the income spreadsheet of the income that the property's bringing in?
I have to ask Beth. There's 3 that she sold herself as resales, and she told me everything, and I forgot what she said. But they're making money.
So, I mean, as long as we're on the subject, if you don't mind, what are the 3 ways that we can get value on a home there, everybody? What's the first one? How do we do our regular CMAs?
Variables.
Right? Comps. Right? And then, of course, we have the other one, replacement cost.
Mm-hmm.
And then what's the final one, which none of us like to touch because it deals with all the numbers? Income. So 100%, folks, if I was to sell this thing, I'd be marketing it on as an income producing property. I would not be selling this as a single family home in in whatever town I'm in. In all of your MLSs, you have the ability, if you look in the MLS, you have income producing properties. Very simple. I mean, I asked the question, but I know right off the bat, if I can show the numbers, I will have investors pick it up all day long.
So I wonder if she sold them in cash, because my question then is what happens when an appraiser walks in? And a bank there's no such thing. That's the question.
Well, but the appraisal is going to be based, if we're doing it by the income approach, it's going to be based on income, not on the comps. So now we do get into some murky water there because of the fact that, unfortunately, just like most of the other realtors that are out there just selling nothing but single family homes, right? Appraisers do the same thing. There's very few appraisers that can work off the income approach, but they're out there. So we just got to find the right appraiser, right? And honestly, most of the time, our banks are going to be able to identify the income and verify the assets, and that's what they do with the DSCR. Because if I can show the income coming in, we're golden.
I'm going to put in the chat. It is so inexpensive now. And again, I know you're all always inundated with pay for this, join that. But if anyone is interested, she's marketed to $200 for the course. And, Beth knows what she's doing. She got Mentor of the Year in our entire company 2 years ago, and Instructor of the Year. I mean, it was fun to take the course, actually. You do it at your own pace, and then you essentially, you become pad split certified, and you get a buddy because, just like Chris said, numbers. But it was Michelle Murray and I would sit together. We took the course. We ended up taking the course together. And we would sit at night and make up houses and do the numbers over and over and say, okay, what'd you get? And then my lender, Kyle, made me a cheat sheet. He made me a spreadsheet where now all I do is plug the numbers. But before I did that, Kyle's so patient with me. I said, okay, don't show me the cheat sheet. And I did everything by hand. And I said, what did you get? And we got the identical numbers. So I did it a few times with him by hand, because I still believe you need to know how to do it. You need to know how to explain it. But then once you get rolling, because there's no time. These houses go so fast. Every time you know, I know I said a few of these were sitting. That's because nobody in this area, nobody knows about it. And it's funny. The coolest thing is when I scout for pad splits for investors, and I see these weirdo houses that I know no one's going to take because they're strange. There's some of them are already arranged like a pad split, and they weren't even trying. That's why I'm like, oh my God, this is for us. It lowers our competition. So again, you're touching another market, niching yourself. And here's the other thing, a regular person that you know might buy 3 houses in 20, 25 years. A pad split investor, once they buy one, they will find the money and buy more. As soon as I bought one, I bought a fix and flip to finish that so I could buy another pad split. That's ridiculous, you know, but you want to keep going. Elisa.
Yes, I'm wondering, is it just for single people or a couple also could rent?
So let me answer that correctly. So far, it's no pets, no kids, no spouses, no girlfriends and boyfriends. You're living with other people. You can't have that. We are solving the housing crisis. This is supposed to be, and like Chris says, unfortunately, sometimes it isn't. This is just supposed to be a stepping stone, a safe place for you to be. The average stay is 8 months. For these people, I just looked at my dashboard. I have one guy, I think I went on the platform in February, and I have a guy for 170 days. I have another guy that's been there since February. And the other rooms are fluctuating, but the good rooms are the ones that stay. They're talking about allowing, families and kids, it's in one room. Again, the argument is, I'm not living there. If the choice is the street or a room with a beautiful kitchen that you could be safe in, but I don't think that, me personally, I don't want a child living with, you should see the men in my house. I think they're frightening everybody else away. So you don't want children in a house with men like that. It's not, I can't see how that's ideal. And then having boyfriends and girlfriends and husbands and wives, now my house is a 3-2, that's a 5-2. It's not conducive to having 3 extra people in there. So I don't think it's safe to have that. So hopefully pad split doesn't go ahead with that.
Okay.
Because you're not allowed to say no, right? It goes against fair housing. They're very careful about those things. If someone wants to have kids, I'm not allowed to say no, but the answer is no.
Yeah, but that's, again, that's, we should be careful. But my question was more about the young couples, so, but realistically, that's for single persons. Be single and you can be there.
Yep. And people have come up with ideas to say, well, let's do it for nurses. Let's do it for, different, for students. Students, actually, that one works because you have a set time period, usually a year. That's my goal. Sophia's a freshman. I want to buy her a house to be a junior and make all her friends pay her rent. That's my goal, right outside of UCF. But, don't keep trying to reinvent the wheel. When you limit yourself to a particular, Chris, what's the word I'm looking for? Group of people, whatever the word is, nurses say, you're limiting yourself.
The thing I like about it is, with all of this stuff, as most of you have heard me say, no tool is good for everybody, but every tool is good for somebody. And when you're out there talking with your investors, your different buyers, there's different reasons to think of this. There's still a ton of other options, but this is a very viable option depending on the area you're in. Right? Downtown Vero Beach, right? Not going to happen. They're not going to allow it. Right? You get some other areas, Sebastian, we got, septic systems. Right? But there's going to be certain areas that this will work for. Like Shari said, if you're in an area where there's a lot of, minimum wage employees and, you have sewer and public water, it could be a very viable option. You just have to look at the different requirements.
Yeah, their motto is do well for yourself and do good for the community. I mean, you're seriously helping people who, the way also we figure out room rates, in a new area, how do I figure out room rates? Well, on the one hand, I could charge whatever I want, but the let's wait and see, those are vacant weeks. I'm losing money. So that's not too smart to do. What they do is, I'm a realtor. I should know better. So I'll do a little bit of research on my own, get my answer, and then I'll compare it. Then I call Audrey and I say, hey, Audrey, you find out what a weekly motel room cost is in the area that has like a kitchen in it. You figure out you go to Facebook Marketplace, figure out what they're charging for one room in a house to rent. And then you go do a rental for a studio and a 1-bedroom in the area, and you come up with what those weekly rates are. And 99% of the time, Audrey and I agree on the price. Like, we're right there. So you want to be a little lower than what those prices are. And if you did that in your neighborhood, if you just went on the MLS and you did a search for a studio or a 1-bedroom, you'd be horrified at the monthly rate.
Back in communist day in Soviet Union, we have living like this from the government. Actually, so I'm absolutely familiar what you're talking about. But the government after the World War II, they actually took the big apartments that survived after the World War II and split them to the tiny rooms with one bathroom for like a 6 or 7 rooms, and family lived there by decades. And but that was, even I do remember that time when the people lived like this nearby us, so I do understand that. In Europe, like in France or especially Great Britain, they have like a corridors that actually they rented out, like barely like it's tiny places, and also rented very low, and the students and people like low income, they rented it out. So it's just I'm just surprised, and for US it's something new.
That's an interesting perspective. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. But I think maybe because housing at one point was affordable, it was 1 week's worth of your salary, covered your rent or your mortgage usually, and it's just not doing that anymore.
No.
Well, I'm curious from a growth aspect. On PadSplit, can I download the list of leads of people that have come in into a spreadsheet and upload them to a nurture file?
Yes.
The pads, they don't. No. You could, no, but you could advertise. Yeah, they handle all of that. You don't know. There are no leads. You don't know who they are. They send you the people. They said so-and-so's requesting a room. You have 24 hours. But hold on, Christopher. Guess what? 2 things. Number one, if you refer a host to PadSplit and they go on it, you get $1,000. If you refer a member, you get 150. How do you do that? I did that by mistake. I decided my room wasn't renting. I had 1 room not renting. I put it on Marketplace, and somebody actually filled out the paperwork, signed up for PadSplit. They didn't take my room, but they took someone else's, and all of a sudden they go, congratulations, here's $150. I went, oh my God. But you can get leads from Marketplace or Craigslist or something if you're advertising.
Well, no, I'm just curious because like we have the apartment building in Fort Pierce, and every time we list one, all those leads go into our nurtures. And even though it's low income housing, we have already had a couple people that have started the home buying process. They may be a little ways out, but they'll be buyers at some point. So it's all about filling that pipeline.
Yeah, if you're a host and you have 5 or 6 members in your house, that's really who you have, you're allowed to deal with. But
correct.
But one more thing, I've become friends with all the AEs, so they gave me 3 buyer investor leads in the last week or so. So they, I swear, going to that on vacation, going to that PadSplit event in Texas last week was the smartest thing I ever did. You make connections, and then Audrey gave me one, and Blake, who's up in Georgia, she gave me somebody. Awesome. So I've got 3 leads that I'm working. PadSplit gave them to me, investors looking to buy PadSplit because they know I know what I'm doing.
I like it. Anybody have any questions?
No, I do like the idea. It's 19 hours.
Okay.
That's a little right.
I think somebody else that had something to say. Did I miss somebody? All right. Well, Sherry, I appreciate you sharing the information on that. Definitely a pretty neat tool to have in our pocket. And you know, for everybody else, you know, we have tons of different opportunities. So it's about getting out there and, you know, knowing the opportunities. So when we're asking the who, what, where, when, why, and how of what people are looking for, right? And we realize that they're looking for an investment. This could be a viable option depending on the investor we're looking at.
And
So-
a little codicil to that. If you're not, you know, again, I don't try to do things that I don't know. I wouldn't sell an Airbnb, but I would certainly refer my customer to someone who sells them. So if you do not take that course and you have a customer that you think would fit, I am definitely paying referral fees 100% to help outfit them and do what's right for them. And the only other thing is PadSplit is national, because as you saw, my outlay in Tampa was 110,000 because it's cheaper to buy houses in Tampa. The outlay here is about 150, 160, 130,000. Maybe that's too steep for someone. So we refer business, our investors, to other PadSplit realtors all over the country, because you don't have to. The other point is you don't have to be there. It doesn't matter. I never saw my house in Tampa until 2 days before Christmas. It was ready to go live. I already closed. I never saw it.
I like it. All right. Well, awesome. Well, thank you so much, Sherry. It is 7 o'clock. So if you guys have any last minute questions, we can definitely answer them. If not, let's go sell some houses. What do you think?
Yes, tomorrow at the 10:30 Zoom. It's going to knock your socks off. See, definitely come. I swear to you, I will not. Well, yes, I'll say some words, but it's not about me.
Awesome.
Thanks,
right,
guys.
folks.
you, Sherry. Thank you.
Have a good night. Let me
Bye,
know
guys.
if you need anything.
Thank you.
See you
Bye,
later.
guys.
Bye.